In this final video for Sage Intacct Construction payroll configuration, we're going to discuss cost code overrides. You may or may not need this in the system, and hopefully you never will, but if you do, this is a pretty powerful area to put in some overrides and some pre-fills that maybe are out of the ordinary, or you just can't find a way to do them inside the other areas in the configuration we've been to so far. So inside payroll under setup, you have cost code overrides. And if I go into here, I can hit create new just to kind of see what we have. And so when you're creating new, you have the ability to say, for example, hey, if it's this project and this cost code, and I'm just going to put in a cost code here. And you notice those are the two that are required. I don't have to put a cost type in, but I can say and LAB for labor. Do this instead. So if it's this cost code for this job, maybe it's going to use a different compensation table, or maybe the taxes are different just for that area. Maybe it's a travel cost code, or a different local, or a different workers' comp code. So you can say whenever it's cost code 100 for this project, don't use whatever's in the employee file, use this code right here, okay? So you can set all that up inside these cost code override tables. Now, basically, if you want to do this on a mass scale, we don't want to have to put in, all right, for this cost code, for example, it's always 5446. I don't want to have to set this up for every job. You can do that too. You just can't key it in here. There is a wildcard. There's a percent that can be imported in so that you can say percent equals the job, and that's telling the system for every job for cost code 01-100, you do this. And I'll show you how to do that. You can import it with the template. You don't need to. You can do it on the fly too. But there is an import, and it's just an Excel spreadsheet, so you can get pretty basic with it. But if I come in to set up payroll imports here, and this is the same area you'll do any of the employee setup we've been going through so far, including time card records for imports. But if we see there, the first item on the menu here, it's called chargeable records. And that's really what the cost code override is. And so what you want to do is you come into chargeable records and you'll click import rows. And it'll give you the ability to grab an Excel file from somewhere you have saved on your computer, or you can drag or drop it. So if you have 1,000 cost codes and you have workers' comp codes listed for all of them, you could build in an Excel sheet ahead of time and then upload it in here. In this case, I'm just going to set up one. So I want to say manually enter data, which you can do. And now I can come into those same fields that we saw earlier and I can populate what I need to. So again, I want this for every job. So I'm going to put a percent in there. And for the cost type, I'm going to leave blank. But for a cost code, I want to say whenever it's this cost code 01-100, so this is where you're going to want to import it if you have 200 lines. You don't want to key these in manually. As of what effective date, and I would just put in like 01-01-2025. You do not need to fill out all these fields. Basically, we want to say whenever it's any job, this cost code, we want to come over to here and say for the tax classification for the category, anything that has a WC on it. Did I do that right? Let me just make sure that field, yep, tax category identifier. We want to use, now it says, well, then you need a code. We want to use the workers' comp code 4556. Okay. And you can even do this with journal entry mappings too. And then you would keep going here. So maybe, maybe you have another code and you want to keep going here. When I say submit, it'll then say I added one row and I can save it. So once I save it now, you'll go into system here and you can do this cost code override. And you should see it on the list now. So that's how you get it in. See how the percent's there? So this is saying for every time you use cost code 01-100, always use that workers' comp code. So it'll override anything that's set up anywhere else in the system employee file, whatnot. So this can be a powerful tool as you get into deployment and testing. If something just isn't working quite right, we might end up going to cost code overrides, but just wanted to mention that those are there. And if you need them, feel free to set them up and test, or reach out to us in Q&A and ask Richard and ask us some questions on it. Thank you.